Welcome to Puvanur RVIR Laya Academy of Music and Mathematics. Welcome to Puvanur RVIR Laya Academy of Music and Mathematics. We are now dealing Misra, Jathi, Jampa, Thalam 10-beat cycle. Last class we saw a few korvais for the first section. We are going to see more korvais for the different sections in Misra, Jathi, Jampa, Thalam. Before I get into the class, I will start this class with a Thirukkural. சிறப்பு ஈனும் செல்வம் பெறினும் பிறர்க்கு இன்னா செய்யாமை மாசற்றார் கோள். That's the திருக்குறள். சிறப்பை தருகின்ற பெருஞ்செல்வத்தை பெறுவதாக இருந்தாலும் பிறர்க்கு துன்பம் செய்யாதிருத்தலே மாசற்றவரின் கொள்கையாகும். சிறப்பு தருகின்ற பெருஞ்செல்வத்தை பெறுவதாக இருந்தாலும், if you are going to get wealth which is going to make you popular, the most important quality what Thirulur states here is துன்பம் செய்யாதிருத்தலே மாசற்றவரின் கொள்கையாகும். You should not harm anybody, and that's the principle of wise people. And so does everybody need to behave. That's what the comparison Thirulur makes here in this Thirukkural. With this good thought, we'll enter into the class. Last class we reviewed a few interesting korvais of very nice combinations. For the first section, we used the Trikala phrase. We used a phrase with korvais of 0, 2 and 4. We also saw about Gobucheti, Shrotavaheti, descending and ascending forms. I also gave you homework of how to stack multiple times and how to do it iteratively, and then how to work out the later half of the korvai. The backfill, how you need to make. I taught you the techniques, the ideas. Today we will see some interesting ideas around Tittangadagadagadaga. So as you play Tadimi taka tadimi taka tadimi tangadagagadam, Tadimi taka tadimi taka tadimi tangadagagadam, Tadimi taka tadimi tam, Tittangadagadagadaga, Tadimi taka tadimi tam. As you reduce, you can do in a very creative way. As I taught you, go back and refer level 3 lessons for how to go about doing this structure. So as you go about reviewing those classes, before you play the Thirmanam typically how you played in those classes is that's the Thirmanam you play. Alternate Thirmanam what I taught you is you can reduce the last part and then play it differently. It's an abhiprayam. Now we will see a few korvais around the first one. Dim ta tham takkum dim ta tham Dim ta tham tadiketatum tadiketatum. Very beautifully it has come because each is 5 beats. Dim ta tham 5 beats. Takun dim ta tham 5 beats. Dim ta tham again 5 beats. Tadiketatum tadiketatum. If you want to make this korvai a little bigger, it's very, very simple. All you need to do is tadiketatum, 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 tadittakradum, 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 tadittakradum. You can even make it a bigger korvai because it's equally proportionate. Each are 5 aksharas, well split. You can use those multiple, stack it more, and then get into a different korvai as well. You can play this. Okay, this is the first variety. The second variety is, now whenever the beauty in any korvai is wherever you see the korvai and if it's structured, there is a scope for improvement and improvisation. So dhim, tha, tham. The next step what I'll immediately quickly can think is din, tat, tam, dida, tam. You can play all these things. Din, tat, ta, ga, din, dim, ta, tham, dim, tat, tam, dida, tam. You can play like that. Dim, tat, ta, dim, tat, tham, din, tat. You can reduce this 4, 2 and 0. There you can reduce. Or this dim tha can be dim tha can be reduced as dim tha, din tha. So dim tha, din tha. There is a scope. There's a scope for variation. There's a scope for variation of the korvai. So with all these variations, you can play different korvais. Again, you can actually think of imagining of those are all the parts of it. So you can reduce, you can use the gobucheti, or you can use you can use the reverse form. There's nobody to stop you. So all these are ideas, get these ideas into yourself. Now the next idea. Now as I told you, dhim tat taha, I'm going to make it as dim tat taha. Let's see how the korvai becomes now. Tit tangada dim tat ta. Tatum tangada dim tat ta. Tit tangada dim tat ta. Tadiketa da. Katakata diketa da. Tadrigata diketa da. So I've reduced it, and the latest structure I'm using a suitable format which can fit the Misra Jathi Jampa for the remaining beats to make it a conclusive sequence and a korvai, a qualified korvai, so it makes it interesting to play in the Thalam. This is the next variety. Now let's get into the third variety of how to play this korvai. What will happen? Let's see. Beautifully, you get a third variety as well. All these subtle sounds of whatever I'm making is with my aesthetic sense I'm playing. You can play same thing also. That's okay. But when you get into the mood of actual this aesthetic value, if you keep listening to others and esters, you can keep playing some different tonal effects. These are called overtones, or the effects what you can produce out of the instrument. If you can change and suitably make it to your convenience of your fingers and your strengths, then it'll make a big magical impact. So because reason is why I'm stressing here is each one is blessed with their finger structure. Some will have a long finger, some will have short fingers, some will have normal size, medium sized fingers, and also the handling of topi, the left side, again now depending on the capability, if you're very good in using both the hands in equal proportion, your playing strengths will improve dramatically, because most of the people are weaker, the right hand people are weaker on the left side, the left hand players are normally weak on the right side. So if you get the balance out of it, in an art form, you should get the balance out of it to extract the best out of the instrument. So if you are weaker, if we're playing the left on the left hand side, you have to improve making and playing more exercises using this dom and ta. So just wanted to place this idea here. So that's the first part of my coverage where we saw three korvais using tithang. Let's also look at the second korvai, which is of using same tithang, and I'm including a tadi kitadom format, and using this tadi kitadom, let's see how the korvai goes. So now I'm going to teach you a korvai with the interlude of using tithang, but tadi kitadom will be interluded in between. Tadi ketatun tangada tangada tadi ketatun tadi ketatun tatakadinadum tatakadinadum. So it gives a silent pause in between. I'll explain what the silence is here. That silence has got a particular mathematical phrase. I am keeping it in my mind. So I will teach you what that is. Tangada tadi ketatum is 4.5 beats. Tangada tadi ketatum is 4 beats. Tagadariga tadi ketatum is 3.5 beats. Totally, you get a 12 beat cycle. Okay. After this 12 beat, for the 8 beat, tadi ketatadum, tadi ketatadum, tadi ketatata. So tadi kitatun don don dong, tadi kitatun don don dong, tadi kitatun da. So actually it's an 8 beat played aesthetically. Like that you have to play. Tatakadinatam, tatakadinatam, tatakadinatam. The combination is 3, 5. Tang, tatakadinatam, tang, tatakadinatam, tang, tatakadinatam. It's easier. But now when you suppress all this tang and the korvai, it becomes beauty. Tatakadinatam, tatakadinatam, tatakadinatam. When you suppress it, the beauty of the same phrase gets into different magical effect. This is how you have to play. Tangada tadi ketatun tangada tadi ketatun tadi ketatun tatakadinadum tatakadinadum tatakadinadum. It's a very classic korvai. Like that you have to play. As I told you, when I have a scope of a korvai which is longer, I always use that as a rule of thumb to improvise it. Now let's improvise here. Here taga tadi kitadum is the scope I am finding out, so I can use that scope to make a change in the korvai. Tangada tadi ketatun tangada tadi ketatun tadi ketatun takitatu tadi ketatun daga takitadum tadi ketatun daga takitadum tadi ketatun da. Now the third scope, let's look at the third variety where I'm not giving any korvai and see how it goes. I place an equal korvai of tham tham thang in between takitadum tadikitadum towards the end. The front, in the first half, I'm reducing the korvai and then seeing the effect of it is magnificent. Again here, dhum dhum dhung is for the beginners. The later it should be in the mind. Takita tum tadikita da. Takitatum, tadikitatum. Takitatum, tadikitatada. We can play the similar pattern when you start off. Takitatum, tadikitatam, tam, tam. Takitatum, tadikitatam, tam, tam. Takitatum, tadikitatam, to get the hang of it. This is the elite way of playing, the basic way of playing. Or you can play tam 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 instead. You can give if you want to give a reverberation, you can play in dom. You can play like that. So these are another three varieties using tithanga. So we will also see some interesting patterns around tithanga as the third korvai. Now I'm excluding the stadi kedadam out of it. Now let's see what happens. Ta, di, ki, ta, tum, ta, di, ki, ta, tum, ta, ding, ganna, tum, da, di, ki, ta, ta. Let's look at the combination here. What I had done from the last korvai, tadikitatum was the last usage, the phrase. Now I have removed the tadikitatum out of it. Now, using that restricted phrase, I am constructing a korvai now. Ta, di, ki, ta, tum, ta, di, ki, ta, tum, ta, ding, na, tum, da, di, ki, ta, ta. So that's how the first korvai. Now again, this taha I am going to reduce with two korvais. When you reduce to two korvais, let's see what happens. Ta, di, ki, ta, tum, ta, ding, na, tum, ta, di, ki, ta, da, di, ta, di, ki, ta, da, di, ta, di, ki, ta, ta. That's the second variety. Now the third variety, di, ki, ta, tum, ta, di, ki, ta, tum, ta, ding, na, tum, ta, di, ki, ta, tum, ta, di, ki, ta, tum, ta, di, ki, ta, ta. The third variety, I will again repeat, di, ki, ta, tum, ta, di, ki, ta, tum, ta, ding, na, tum, ta, di, ki, ta, tum, ta, di, ki, ta, tum, ta, di, ki, ta, ta. That's the third variety. So what we have done now in this second episode is using all tithanga, we have seen different dimensions. Tithanga, dhim, tha, tha, dhim, that, tha, dhidata. Tithanga, thaga, tadik, kitatum. Tithanga, tha, tadik, kitatum. Tithanga, tadik, kitatum. Next is we remove this tadik kitatum. Tithanga, thaga. Tithanga, tham. Tithanga. So we used all these forms, changed the back portion of the korvai, and then I've given you different perspective. Even if you've learned 3 korvais in each class, you're learning 9 different varieties, and I'm giving you homework for doing more out of it. So the biggest advantage is when you keep working like this, you get different patterns, different combinations, and when you get those ideas, it will enrich you to do much more challenging patterns later in your career. So that's a basic idea in taking all these classes and doing some research and giving you the orientation of how to go about it. I'll see you in the next class with more korvais in Misra, Jathi, Jampa, Thalam. I will conclude this class with the Thirukural. கருத்து இன்னா செய்தவ கண்ணும் மறுத்து இன்னா செய்யாமை மாசற்றோர் கோள் பகையினால் தீங்கு இழைப்பவனுக்கும் திரும்ப துன்பம் செய்யாதிருத்தல் நல்லோர்களின் பண்பாகும். Because of enmity, a person is trying to do a harm to you. Even for him, if you forgive and forget his deeds, that is one of the greatest qualities. That's what the ruler states in this Thirukkural. I will conclude this class with this good note, and I'll see you in the next class with more korvais in Misra Jathi Jampa Thalam 10-beat cycle. Episode 2 Misra Jathi Jampa Thalam Korvai 1 Mathematical Understanding, total count of 80 aksharas. Interpretation of korvai goes like this. Tit tankadatakadarim tha tham. Tit tankadatakadarim tha tham. Tit tankadatakadarim tha tham. Tadik kitatum tadik kitatum tadik kitatum ta. Episode 2 Misra Jathi Jampa Thalam Korvai 2 Mathematical Understanding, total count of 80 aksharas. Interpretation of korvai goes like this. Tit tankadatakadarim tadik kitatum tankadatakadarim tadik kitatum tadik kitatum ta tatakadinatum tatakadinatum tatakadinata. Episode 2 Misra Jathi Jampa Thalam Korvai 3 Mathematical Understanding, total count of 80 aksharas. Interpretation of korvai goes like this. Tit tankadatakadarim tankadatakadarim takadarim tag di ki tag dung tag dik kik tag dung tadik kitatum tadik kitatum ta.